Good morning and welcome to day 10 of the Transform Your Life in 15 Minutes. My name is McAdams and we are doing 5-minute exercises, each one on the mind, the body, and the soul. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for coming. For those of you that have been with me for all 10 days, I appreciate you. For those of you that have just been with me for a couple of days, I appreciate you as well. Remember, these are recorded, so if you're not able to join me live at 6 o'clock, early in the morning on this West Coast time, or early in the morning because you're getting ready for work on the East Coast time, then remember you can take 15 minutes out of your 24 hours, carve out just 15 minutes to do something good for yourself. Now, for the mind portion of the exercise, we're reading the book, and specifically we're reading Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Dr. Maxwell Maltz. For the body portion, we're doing the sun salutations, so we're doing some yoga. And then for the soul portion, we're doing a 5-minute meditation. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, I want to thank you guys for those of you that are writing me offline, meaning you're either messaging me via Facebook or email or actually even text message as well. I want to thank you for your stories. I really do appreciate those. And what I'm going to do is at some point I'm going to share them. I won't use your name, but I just kind of share some of the successes that you're having. So that way people can actually see, because I know you're not writing them in the comments and people give me various reasons why. And that's okay. But I do want people to hear your success stories. I won't mention your names, but of course you'll know I'm talking about you because it'll be your story. Okay, so when we last left off with the mind portion, we learned, let me see, where were we reading from? We were starting with chapter 3, and we're learning about imagination, how an important role it plays into our lives. And it starts off by talking about, because Dr. Maltz, he's actually a plastic surgeon. So it's talking about he had a patient that came in that basically he had this poor self-image of himself. He thought he was ugly. He thought his nose protruded. He thought his ears were huge. And so even though he had like a normal job, after he got done with his work, he basically locked himself up into his room. He even thought his family was ashamed of him because of the way that he looked. So he basically just, he was psyching himself into this, this ugly person that no one wanted to be around. So the family forced him in to see Dr. Maltz, and Dr. Maltz realized that he didn't need plastic surgery. And basically what Dr. Maltz did was he helped him to use creative imagination in order to reconstruct that destructive self-image that he had of himself, and he was able to go on and live a normal life. So our imagination plays a very, very important role. And I'm also reminded of another story that I heard about, and this is about a guy that got locked into a walk-in freezer, one of those walk-in freezers. So he got locked into it. And so he was so convinced that he was going to die because it was like freezing cold in there that he started writing letters. He started writing letters to his family. And one of his last entries, he was writing that he couldn't write anymore because his fingers were frozen. So he was so convinced that he was going to die, so his fingers were frozen. So the next day, not only did the police find him dead, but they also found the letters. But guess what? Miraculously, that freezer cart, for some reason, it was malfunctioned, and the temperature never dropped below 50 degrees. So in essence, there was really no reason for him to die. This man literally psyched himself to death. So I want you to understand that your mind, your imagination plays a very, very important role. So what we're going to be doing next in this book is we're going to move on to Truth Determines Action and Behavior. So again, we're on chapter 3, and I'm just kind of skipping around here because I want you to actually get the book and read it for yourself. But I do want to give you some key points. Okay, so truth determines action and behavior. The human brain and nervous system are engineered to react automatically and appropriately to the problems and challenges in the environment. For example, a man does not need to stop and think that self-survival requires... Yeah, that's right. A man does not need to stop and think that self-survival requires that he run if he meets a grizzly bear on the trail. He does not need to decide to become afraid. The fear response is both automatic and appropriate. First, it makes him want to flee. The fear then triggers bodily mechanisms that soup up his muscles so that he can run faster than he's ever run before. His heartbeat is quickened. Adrenaline, a powerful muscle stimulant, is poured into the bloodstream. All bodily functions not necessary to running are shut down. The stomach stops working, and all the available blood is sent to the muscles. Breathing is much faster, and the oxygen supply to the muscles is increased manifold. All of this, of course, is nothing new. Most of us has learned this in high school. What we have not been so quick to realize, however, is that the brain and nervous system that react automatically to the environment are the same brain and nervous system that tells us what the environment is. The reactions of the man meeting the bear are commonly thought of as due to emotion rather than to ideas. Yet it was an idea, information received from the outside world and evaluated by the forebrain that sparked the so-called emotional reactions. Thus, it was basically idea or belief that was the true causative agent rather than emotion, which came as a result. In short, the man on the trail reacted to what he thought or believed or imagined the environment to be. The messages brought to us from the environment consist of nerve impulses from the various sense organs. These nerve impulses are decoded, interpreted, and evaluated in the brain and made known to us in the form of ideas or mental images. In the final analysis, it is these mental images that we react to. You act and feel not according to what things are really like, but according to the image your mind holds of what they are like. You have certain mental images of yourself, your world, and the people around you, and you behave as though these images were the truth in reality rather than the things that they represent. Let us suppose, for example, that the man on the trail had not met a real bear, but a movie actor dressed in a bear costume. If he thought and imagined that actor to be a bear, his emotional and nervous reactions would have been exactly the same. Or let us suppose he met a large shaggy dog, which his fear-ridden imagination mistook for a bear. Again, he would react automatically to what he believed to be true concerning himself and his environment. It follows that if our ideas and mental images concerning ourselves are distorted or unrealistic, then our reaction to our environment will likewise be inappropriate. So why not imagine yourself successful? Realizing that our actions, feelings, and behavior are the results of our own image and beliefs gives us the lever that psychology has always needed for changing personality. It opens up a new psychological door to gaining skill, success, and happiness. Mental pictures offer us an opportunity to practice new traits and attitudes which otherwise we could not do. This is possible because, again, your nervous system cannot tell the difference between actual experience and the one that is vividly imagined. If we picture ourselves performing in a certain manner, it is nearly the same as the actual performance. Mental practice helps to make perfect. In a controlled experiment, psychologist R.A. Vandal proved that mental practice in throwing darts at a target, wherein the person sits for a period each day in front of the target and imagines throwing the darts at it, improves aim as much as actually throwing darts. So in other words, he would have the patient sit down and practice throwing the darts even though he wasn't. He just imagined that he was, and this improved his dart throwing. So Research Quarterly reported an experiment on the effects of mental practice on improving skill in sinking basketball free throws. One group of students that practiced throwing the ball every day for 20 days was scored in the first and last days. A second group was scored on the first and last days but engaged in no sort of practice in between. The third group was scored on the first, then spent 20 minutes a day imagining that they were throwing the ball into the hoop. When they missed, they would imagine that they corrected their aim accordingly. The first group, which practiced 20 minutes every day, improved in scoring 24%. The second group, which had no sort of practice, showed no improvement. And the third group, which practiced in their imagination, improved in scoring 23%. All right, so still on that imagination and the important role that it plays into our mind. Okay, so that concludes, let's take my glasses, that concludes the mental mind portion. So we're going to move on to, sorry I'm like all bright, we're going to move on to the body portion. We're going to be doing some yoga and then immediately going on to the meditation. All right, so we're walking down my hall of positivity here with my quotes. I feel like Vanna White. She's still out there, and I think she retired. Okay. So again, I invite you to not watch me go through these yoga sun salutations, what just happened here. But I do invite you to join me. Remember, 5 minutes is all it takes. It will make a big difference, I promise you. you're just joining me, we're moving on to the meditation portion of the exercise. So we're going to sit in a nice comfortable position. And remember, you can do your meditation lying down. Just, be careful not to fall asleep if you're still in the bed. This is actually a good thing to do just before you go to bed at night. So if you like, I invite you to fast forward, and once you've already taken out your 15 minutes, carve out an additional 5 minutes and do some meditation just before you go to sleep. Okay, so get a nice comfortable position, and we're going to be doing the breath, a ujjayi breathing, where we're inhaling for a count of 1 and exhaling for a count of 2. release, relax, and return fresh and calm. You've done something good for yourself today. I want to thank you for joining me for day 10 of the Transform Your Life in 15 minutes. You guys have a blessed day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.